Welcome to 40 Below Zero, an international podcast about life with invisible illnesses, hosted by two guys living with multiple sclerosis. Coming to you from the Keystone State of Pennsylvania, I'm your co-host Nix, and with me on this ride is Terry, a Londoner who calls Ontario home. We're so happy you're here with us as we continue to try and normalize a life that is anything but. So let's get into it. What's up, Warriors? Welcome back to the show. We're so glad you're here. Terry, it's been a week, man. How you been?
It's been a week. Everything's good, man. Everything's cool.
Yeah? You just
It's
saying that, or?
no, seriously, everything's cool, man. I know I'm the guy with stories. No, it's
Mm-hmm.
cool, man. I've been doing the bike thing, and this week I'm going to be standing up doing the stand-up frame. So, yeah,
What?
yeah.
No. You didn't mention that at all. What is that all about?
Seriously, I never told you that.
No, or at least not that I remember.
It's cool. It's a stand-up frame where I get to stand up. It helps me stand up. So,
Yeah.
and it's cool because I got a schedule. So I'm like, on this day I'll do it for half an hour, and they said no. You're going to do it for 10 minutes the first time. And I'm like, why? They're like, have you stood up for half an hour in the last 5 years? I'm like, no, because I'm always standing up for 20 seconds, sit down. You know what I mean?
Right.
So for the first time, it's going to be 10 minutes. It's tomorrow. I'm going to try it out tomorrow and Thursday. Yeah.
That's
I
that
haven't
sounds
done it
pretty
yet.
awesome.
I'll tell you about it next week. See how it goes.
How's the hand bike going?
It's not a hand bike. It's for my legs, but yeah,
yeah.
no. It's
Sorry,
cool.
man.
It's cool. It's
Wow.
cool. Yeah. It's going well, man. It's going well. They upped the wattage,
Okay.
if that's what it is. They upped it by 5. So it's good, man. I'm on that journey, man.
Slowly making your way to 1.21 gigawatts.
I'm doing 10 kilometers, but it's assisted. So, you
That's
know,
awesome.
I remember when I was able, I would do 10 kilometers because it was the distance to my school and I would bike to my school.
Oh,
And
okay.
it took me like say half an hour to 40 minutes. Don't judge me, whoever does it in 10 minutes. Jeez. But I remember, so the fact that I'm doing 10 kilometers now, I'm like, yo, it's a cool feeling, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thanks, bro.
That's awesome.
So,
Such great progress in such a short time, man.
dude, in the last 4 years, I haven't done any of this stuff. So I'm
Yeah,
catching up, you know?
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, man. It is. It's cool.
Any chance we could get a pic of you
Yes.
standing up?
Okay.
Nice.
So listen, I was on a bus ride somewhere, and that's when I met Holly. And Holly's the one that's like, hey, have you gone to Parkwood? And I'm like, I've heard about it. What is it? What's going on? And she said, all you got to do is come in and talk to someone and they register you. She motivated me to go. So
Nice.
I owe it to her. Okay. And
Nice.
last time I went, she looked at me and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna do the stand up on Tuesday or Thursday. It depends on and it's Tuesday and Thursday, but she's there, I think, on Thursday. So she said, if I'm here, I'm gonna do some photos and video for you because I know you like
Nice.
photo ops. And I'm like, yes, I
Nice.
do. And I'm just too embarrassed to be like, hey, lady, can you just so she's gonna
Yeah,
help me out and
that's great. Yeah, I feel the same way, dude. I'm not like the hey, can you take our picture kind of
yeah,
guy, you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
That's great, man. I can't wait to see those pictures.
yeah. It'll be cool. New adventures, man. So what's going on with you? Tell me.
Well, first thing, I have to make a little correction. Um, Last week on the show when I went on my rant about the hospitals in my county, I there's actually I said there I kept saying there's one hospital left. There's actually two. Um, so I have to put that correction out there. They didn't. I thought Crozier would have closed the whole system, but apparently there's one on the other side of the county that's still open. So I hope it stays that way. But man, I've been seeing pictures from people I know on Facebook, and it is eerie. They're pictures from inside the Crozier Medical Center that closed down,
Yeah.
and you just see these, just being used to like a waiting room full of 100 people, and now there's just empty chairs, and you see the hallways in the emergency department where you're used to seeing every bed full and like people out in the hallways, and and it's like a ghost town. It's so creepy. So I hope somebody picks it up quick, but yeah, I need to put that correction out there.
First of all, you didn't rant. I get it. I get it because you. Well, it wasn't a rant really,
I hear
but
you.
yo, one hospital closing is too much.
Yeah.
So, so what is that? Three, four hospitals that closed? Two,
Uh,
three? Who cares, man? One is too
Yeah,
many.
three. I think it's three. Three out of four closed, but the
Yeah,
big one closed down. And the crazy thing that I didn't even think about was that, the hospital that did close, Crozier, it's right near a major highway. So
okay.
not only the people that live in the county are affected, but people that traveling through the county. Wild, wild to think about. So um, I had to, my daughter had a doctor's appointment this morning, so I had to take her to the hospital that's still open, Riddle. Um, Man, something I don't even think I mentioned on the last show was, or maybe I touched on it, but it became very apparent this morning just how flooded that hospital is with people now.
Yeah.
That the parking garage was packed floor to ceiling, not an available spot. Um, Lines to get on elevators. There's just people everywhere, and this is like the first day where people are finally able to scramble to find a doctor. So everyone's mood is elevated naturally. Everyone's ready to scream at any moment, and you can just see the frustration and hear it on not only the patients, but really also with the staff. I my heart goes out to them. There's a whole nother crisis now, which is the flood coming in, and now these other employees have to deal with that. So instead of like, I don't know, I'm just making up numbers now, but you're going from like 50 patients and then 150, you know what I mean? Like your workload triples and you got to keep all that paperwork right with the insurance and the billing and the addresses and phone numbers and medications.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's a
It's a
lot,
mess.
man.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And
Yeah.
I almost broke character. I'm a pretty calm guy, you
Yeah.
know. But we were in the waiting room of the doctor's office, and there was a gentleman to my left, and he was very his voice was raised. He was like not screaming, but almost screaming at the staff on the other side of the glass. And I almost looked at him and let him have it, but I didn't want to stress my daughter out for me getting involved, and I didn't want to elevate the situation any further. So, and I get it. Everyone's stressed. Everyone's scared. You're trying to do the best for your loved ones, and there's no safety net anymore. So, yeah,
Don't
it's
you
just,
guys have signs in the hospital that say verbal abuse will not be tolerated?
I mean,
Yo,
you
we
would
have
just
that.
think we do have some, but, you just think that would be a common courtesy. But,
Yeah.
I wanted to say to him, well, I wanted to say to him a couple of choice words, but I wanted to say, yelling at the staff doesn't make them work faster, or solve your problem.
I just
And when the person doesn't understand things like one hospital, because they have the portals, you just go online and you just
yeah.
talk to the doc. One portal from one hospital is not accessible from the other hospital's staff. So no matter how many times you tell them to just look in the portal,
Yeah.
that portal doesn't exist to them. And he was not grasping that concept. I guess he thought that like one of those covers his entire medical needs.
I would just sit back and watch the show.
Oh, that's what I ended up doing. And I felt bad because, you know, I don't know. I just felt bad that I normally I would have gotten involved, but
I love how you
I
said
wasn't.
I was about to break character.
Hmm.
What are you,
Well,
Clark Kent?
well, no, look, generally I'm, I try to approach things with a calm demeanor. I've gotten over the way I used to respond to situations. Like I don't do that anymore. Um, 10 years ago, if I was still in my other life, so to speak, if I was still in my other mindset, I guess is a better way to put it, um, I would have reacted to that guy. And maybe I should have, but I don't know. Eventually it calmed down. Like I said, I know everyone's frustrated.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's my character now. Your break character. But
You teach me, bro, because I can't keep it down. Like you and Kid are perfect because you're a calm, collective guy. And I could just
mm,
maybe tell that she's like, no, I'm gonna speak up and she'll just do her shit.
yeah, that's kind of how it goes. I don't listen, I used to be that
Yeah.
assertive and I used to be that, outspoken. Um, but I've calmed down a lot because of the diagnosis. I mean, when there's a lot of things that are out of your control, I've done a lot of work with meditation. I've done a lot of work, with a lot of breath work, a lot of mindset shifting. Like I've really done the work. So I've taken that other person that I used to be, and it's still in my back pocket, and I can pull it out if I need to. But I just don't want to at this point. I just don't find that even like so. Let's say I would have engaged that guy,
Yeah.
and what would I have done? Would I have matched his energy and yelled at him?
No,
And
I
then
hear
what? There's two people yelling now.
and you would have irritated him more and he would have
Right.
yeah, I hear you, man. Trust me, I hear you.
But everything in me wanted to turn and look at him and go, "Would you just shut the, you know?"
Yeah, yeah. Would your daughter be like, Dad, stop?
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. She probably would have gotten embarrassed and what would it have accomplished? Seriously.
Dude, I hear you, man.
Would they have called security and now we're both getting bounced out? I mean, it didn't rise to the level of like if there was a physical component, which there was not, if there was, then definitely like that's the point that I would have stepped in.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think either that or if I saw the young woman who was working there crying, like
yeah,
if she would have started crying, I would have absolutely stepped in. But she was holding her own.
yeah.
She was giving her she was like, "Sir, I don't know how many times I have to explain it. I cannot access your records from another hospital." I was like, "All right, she's holding her own." But
She's gone through it many times, I'm
yeah, oh,
sure.
like, and then you see the staff just giving each other the look
Yeah, yeah.
across the office after he leaves.
It's them against everybody sometimes, right?
It's and it
It
and I
has
feel
to be.
bad because yeah, it shouldn't be because really, at the end of the day, you every they want everybody wants the same thing. You want healthcare. They want to give you healthcare. That's their job. You want your uh like your medical needs met, like your medicines and your talk therapies and all that, and they're the ones that want to give it to you. Otherwise, they would not be in the job that they're in. So to yell at them is kind of, I don't know.
Yeah. And I forget that, yo, you had a career path of just, you know,
Right, getting involved. My whole career was getting involved, whether it was um, in the fire service, you get involved because there's an incident. In the
yeah,
in the EMS world, you get involved because someone needs your help. And in law enforcement, you're constantly in other people's situations. That's the whole job or most of the
yeah.
job. So I mean,
You're,
I guess it was a trigger, that guy raising his voice in the office. Um,
you're a
but then I
protector, man, you know?
Yeah, thank you. I had to remind myself that it's not my place to
Hmm.
always get involved. But now I have very specific boundaries to when I will and will not.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if I would have gotten involved as, you know, just because I think I would have just stared at other people saying, "Can you see this guy? See this
Well, yeah,
guy?"
that's kind of what I did because the woman who was taking care of us was kind of looking at me, and I did say to her, I said, I'm sorry, sir. I said, I'm sorry, ma'am. I can't hear what you're saying because the gentleman over here has priority on the volume, and she started.
That's so passive, bro. So passive.
What can I do? I mean, I
No,
can't. What am I
no.
gonna assault the guy? I'm not gonna.
That's funny.
Now, every everything in me initially wanted to just grab him and say, "This is you're not being helpful, and you need to stop," and with some other language, but that's not me anymore. I don't even have that strength anymore, you know. And
That's funny.
I'd end up getting myself in trouble.
Yeah, yeah,
And to do what? So,
yeah.
but yeah, it's a very that's the best way I can describe it. It's a very heightened emotional state in that building right now because it's the first week
Mhm.
with the influx. So I wish I wish all those I mean if any of those workers are listening, my heart goes out to you. Keep up the good fight.
For sure.
And that's you know anybody listening who works in healthcare at any level, whether it's a personal caregiver or a hospital setting, you know, it's they're thankless jobs. You don't get paid enough um to deal with what you got to deal with. And I appreciate them. I know that.
Dude, we all appreciate them. How long until you think the hospitals kind of go back to normal at their, I don't know what to say, their pace? When does it slow
Yeah.
down?
Well, I think I'm going to say the month of May is going to be everyone sorting their things out.
Okay.
I think after May, I mean, hopefully, somebody steps in and starts buying up the hospitals that are, you know, and reopening the hospitals that are there. I mean, if you're, I mean, you know, if you're running a hospital system and your competitor closes, why wouldn't you buy their building and hire their staff? You know what I mean? Like that's a perfect opportunity.
And still not on the news. I mean,
Well, up here, it's a daily thing, but it's
I'm sure
local.
it is.
I
I'm
mean,
sure it is. Yeah.
um, so yeah, it's just a lot of emotions going on. But I think about a month things will settle out as far as the patients go,
Yeah.
and hopefully my hope is within within 3 months, so by the end of the summer, um, somebody starts buying up pieces of it, you know. And I've heard from the folks that I know who used to work there that there are two hospital systems that are kind of like on the fringe of making a move. So we'll see how it goes. And plus, you know, politicians get involved, things happen. So hopefully that happens too at some point.
Yeah. I have no words, man. Keep me updated. That's all I keep saying to
Yeah,
you. All right.
I will. Thank you. And you know, the crazy thing is, you know, there's a Facebook group that I follow and it tracks the number of fatal incidents that happen in my county
Okay.
that are firearm related.
Okay.
And they haven't slowed down since the hospital closed, you know. The only difference is now they have to drive further. So you know, it's 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 a sad state right now.
So are you saying crime hasn't slowed down?
Yeah,
Okay.
and yeah.
But they're not going to be like, guys, we got to settle down. The hospitals are closed. We can't be hurting anybody because then they're going to have to drive.
I know, but still it's like, come on. Like really? Like
Ow, do you know how
society
far
can't
the
catch.
hospital is?
Yeah. And what I had talked about last week has already happened. I heard two stories where individuals did not go to the hospital because they thought the pain was not serious, and they ended up in a different hospital a day later because they suffered like cardiac incidents, which you know
Yeah.
I told you it was going to happen. If someone somewhere is going to say, "Oh no, this pain will go away. I don't have to go see a doctor," and then they'll you know it'll be much worse.
I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but that's what I thought a lot of it was in the States because you guys sometimes it's expensive.
Hmm.
So sometimes they break their arm. I thought a lot of people are like, it'll heal on its own, where we flood our hospitals because it's no payments,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean that we get top notch service. I mean, we do, but it's prioritized, right?
Oh yeah. Of course.
So
Of
sometimes,
course.
yeah,
Yeah.
man, the ambiance in that hospital is shit, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. You know what I think they need, and I recommended this. I said it jokingly to the doctor that I saw. I said, you know, they need like the Beagle Brigade, where like just a pack of support dogs are just roaming the hallway so you can pet a puppy anytime you need to just chill out a minute.
Yeah, yeah,
Just just let the little puppies loose.
yeah. That ain't happening.
No. But
Oh my God.
it is nice to see that the hospital systems are embracing what used to be, taboo in a hospital settings, like holistic healing is
Yeah,
becoming really prevalent in the hospital settings.
cool.
There have there's a big increase in like meditation classes and breathwork workshops and Reiki services that they're offering and like pranic healing, like all these things are being accepted now because the doctors, I guess, are starting to realize that there is a healing component to it. I mean, of course, I'm all in. I mean, you've seen the website that
Yeah.
the organization I'm involved in.
There's a
Um,
lot of practices that are getting more respected slowly. It's a,
mhm.
slow pace, but such as osteopath. I know that's, but it's not covered or anything over here, but
Yeah, a lot of
chiropractors are.
chiropractors aren't well, they're covered a little bit here.
They're covered more than osteopath, I believe,
Yeah,
here. But
same here too.
okay.
But yeah, it's just nice to see them embracing and being like, oh, okay, maybe it's not just pills and chemicals. Maybe you do need to work on the whole person. Um, and that's what I said to my neurologist a long time ago, um, when we were talking about some of the things that I was involved with, and even including, my neurologist is not like fully on board for the idea of medical marijuana. And during our discussion, I said, you know, the maintenance medication, the IV drugs, that will do what it does for the disease. That'll treat the disease. But that doesn't treat me as the person. That just treats the disease and the symptoms. So for the rest of me, I go holistic and change my diet. Um, I mean, I didn't go like I don't want to say off the deep end because I don't want to offend anybody, but I didn't go from eating a normal American diet to now I'm all raw foods and I don't,
Yeah, yeah,
I just
yeah.
kind of like evened it out a little bit.
Health
Um,
conscious,
yeah, that's a
like,
good way to put it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but then of course I incorporated all those practices, with the meditation and I do get and the sound baths and the Reiki healing and all that stuff. And so I incorporated all that because, vibrational energy is a thing
Yeah,
and it does affect certain parts of you. Now, I'm not saying it's the only thing that's going to do it. I'm just saying it's going to help. So if you're listening to, I mean, and it's huge on the internet, everybody knows. It's like you get the certain hertz, you get the frequencies, all that. If you do it as a part of your routine, then it starts to affect change. Um, so for example, I've been playing the drums since I was in fourth grade.
okay.
Um,
Like drums.
yeah, like drum set
Did
and
we ever talk
also
about this?
no, mm-mm.
Dang.
And and then somewhere around middle school, but really in high school, I got into what they would call world drumming. So I have like all these other hand drums.
I saw those drums, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So
really big in my culture. You know that, right?
yes, I do.
Huge. Okay.
I have
I can't play those drums, but that's crazy. I love those
you
drums.
can and I can teach you. I
no,
run a
boom,
drum
boom,
circle.
boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom. Like I can't. Like,
It's not as hard as you think.
okay.
But so I have like the djembes and the cajones and like all these different drums that I like to play.
The cojones,
Um,
what?
I have two. If you have two cajones, that's cajones.
Are you good at actual drums? Is that
I used to be when
like
all my limbs
that's
worked.
whatever. That's cool. Even if you can come up with a beat, that's cool.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep. I listen. I the best? No.
Oh, it doesn't matter though, but you know
Do you ever
how.
see the guy on the internet who looks like you?
Dude,
You've never
me?
seen him? Yeah, he looks like you. His name's I'm gonna mispronounce it, but he's like the most known drummer It's like El Astapario.
You never told me this before that somebody looked like you. You know how many people say this guy looks like you? It's because that guy has a big nose. And
No, this guy, you and him could be related.
okay, well, you got to show me after.
Yeah.
Let's not tell everyone now so they can start calling me.
Can you
Yo, that
see
guy
him?
looks cool, bro.
He is cool. He's the most like
No way
he
I look like that, but cool.
every
Thank you.
like every video every TikTok he puts up has like over 2 million views. It's crazy. This dude's wild.
Cool, cool. That is me.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, it's all playing the drums has always been therapeutic for me. Um, and now more than ever, the vibrational energy, the fact that I've incorporated it into all these other practices, like I do a whole other thing with it now. So it's not just playing just to play, which I also love doing, but uh, sometimes I play with intent. Uh, so yeah, to incorporate all that treats the whole person. You know what I mean? So and what does it hurt? It doesn't hurt me. It actually makes me feel better, and feeling better is just one piece of the whole thing.
I've told you before, man. I make weird noises sometimes, and it just settles me down.
Hmm.
You know.
Well, that's the thing.
I
So
hear you, man.
when I'm teaching stuff, it's everyone has their own frequency. And that is when you hum. So when you actually make the humming noise, what you're hearing is your body making a frequency that is yours. It might sound very close to everybody else's,
Yeah.
but your body recognizes it and it creates movement with inside of you. And that helps to like kind of shake things loose sometimes. And that's what you said. You make weird noises and you feel better. What's,
I
what,
hear you, man. I hear
what's
you.
wrong with that? You know?
I keep thinking of that Howard Stern movie
Hmm.
where he just goes, he's just sorry.
But
All
he
right.
does that for a purpose in that movie.
I know, but I'm just it's what comes to
Man,
my mind.
that's a deep cut. I don't, jeez, that's a hell of a reference there.
Dude, it just came to my mind.
Hmm.
It's not my fault. It's MS. It does this to my brain.
No, I believe me. Mine's been
Yeah.
my processor's been in quicksand these last couple of days.
Oh, so okay, so we talk about the crap gap, right?
Hmm.
So I'm so bad right now. Doris,
Okay.
who we had on the show,
Oh yeah.
she actually gave me the timeline of what's going to happen, and it happened exactly the way she said it, which I'm impressed. So she goes, the next day you're going to feel like Superman, and I'm like, yeah. And I was telling people, oh, I feel great. She goes, relax, it's going to go down again. You're going to go back to par. She goes, the prednisone like drug.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, it happened. The next day I was great. Everything was fine. My massage therapist came. He's like, wow, you got so much strength. I'm like, yeah, man. And then the next day I went down, and then I went back up and I'm good now. I have energy. I'm back to
Good.
normal. But
Good.
yeah, that crap gap, man, I am really scared about that next crap gap, but
Eh,
at least I'm aware of it now.
yeah,
At least,
hopefully that takes the fear out of it.
yeah,
You
yeah,
can
I'm aware.
you just acknowledge that you're in it and go, okay, I'm just gonna feel like garbage until I get my meds again.
Yeah, yeah, I got it. I
So
got it.
hopefully, and then hopefully I gotta, hopefully somebody out in the world comes up with something a little, different, better. Maybe
There's
refines it, maybe drops it down to the 5 months like they were talking about.
What do I do if I get messages from people, family, and they're like, look, and they send me a link, and then I
Mm,
click on the link and it's research has figured out it's in the guts, like we hear a lot of stuff, right?
yeah.
And what do I say? Oh, thank you. Like,
Yeah.
I
Thank you. Thanks for thinking of me. That's all I ever say. Thanks for thinking of me.
yeah,
Because that person saw that article and went, "Oh, this might help Terry," and they sent it. So they were thinking of you,
I guess
trying to
so.
contribute.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, you got to be careful with that. You got to look at I mean, we know that most of it's clickbait at this point and is garbage information. So you got to watch the source. You got to see where that comes from. Um, Yeah, my
I'm gonna say something that might not make sense, so please help me out here. So you know how they were starting to connect it with the Epstein-Barr virus?
hmm
So this is not gonna make sense, but what if someone in that research lab has figured out a way to connect it to the Epstein-Barr virus so that
uh-huh.
they this is gonna sound stupid, so they can get funded to put more research into it and make more money. Does that make sense?
Does make sense. And
Because
maybe it's happening.
you know why? Because they also figured out the gut brain connection. So I'm like, oh, so it's the gut. It's also to the gut. I have something. I'm going to read it to you. Emerging research suggests a potential link between the gut microbiome, which is a community of microorganisms that usually can be found living together in a given habitat, and MS. So I'm like, oh, great. So they're starting to do research on that. So what happened to the Epstein-Barr virus? Is that not so? What we can get MS from two different. Why don't they connect those two things together? I'm not making sense. I know, but it's.
No, you are making sense
I feel
because,
like people are just trying to. Hey, it's over here. It's over here. Give us money. It's over here.
well, not in the States currently, but I hear what you're saying. There is no MS funding or funding for MS research currently this year at the federal level, anyway.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Um, that's okay. So you guys got to look at the grassroots level. You got to talk to all the activists and all the state level people and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of what's happening. There's a pushback. The people are starting to do it. But yeah, I mean, I'm not up on the Epstein-Barr research. I just know that it is one of the signs that they look for to they ask you, have you or someone in your direct family had it? Have you ever had mono? Have you ever, like, they go through the list, and
Mm,
I've checked all those boxes. So it was
yeah,
going to happen. I had a high probability that it was going to happen in my case. So just like everybody else who has it, if they look backwards, they'll see that there's a bunch of boxes that they checked and be like, "Oh, that makes sense."
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, it's totally possible. Totally possible. I mean, I met a kid. He was probably 15 or 16 at the time. This was a couple years ago. Maybe he's 20 now. Um, he had the idea that rattlesnake venom could cure cancer. He said, rattlesnake venom targets very specific cells when it enters your body, and it kills them. He said, well, what if we could train that venom to kill cancer cells? So that's what he's going to be working on. I mean, I haven't talked to him in years, but I hope he's still doing it.
That's cool.
But that's the kind of thing, like, you just get these wild ideas, and just like you said, it doesn't might not make sense, but you got to try it. That's why you have the scientific method, right? Somebody puts out a hypothesis and says, if we can control Epstein-Barr, then we can control MS. Then you got to test it. You got to try it. So,
It's like that CCVI. I always say it wrong. CCVI, CCVTI. I don't know. It's they were doing the whole Doppler test to see these two
oh, the
things.
neck thing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. The guy probably connected it because he had his wife that had MS or
Yeah.
has MS. I don't know. And he's probably like, oh, I got some connection. Fund me. Let me help you guys.
Yep. And that's the way it works. That's the way it's supposed to work anyway. Someone has an idea, they need money, and they try it. But that's why it's so easy to say we should stop funding research because it's not producing results.
Yeah.
But that's not really how science works. You have to fail a lot to get the right answer, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Times we're living in, Ter. Times we're living
That's crazy, man.
in. Mm.
So there's a couple of I was going on Wikipedia and stuff like that, looking through MS facts and interesting facts. And,
Okay.
I was trying to find some fun facts, but I couldn't really find any fun facts.
I was gonna say, are there any fun facts about MS? Fun fact, you have it and it's terrible.
So yeah. Okay, so let me tell you this, and I want to know if you've ever heard of it. Okay.
Okay.
So we all know the hug symptom.
Right.
Okay, we all know a lot of people with MS experience it.
Right here.
Yes, yes, me too, me too. Mine's not as intense as a lot of people's because I know that some people it limits their breath taking. Does that?
Yeah.
So that's wow, that's claustrophobic. If that happened to me, I'd be like, I just have it where it feels like there's something there, just a little belt, you know. Anyway, so it's called the hug symptom, or it's called the embrace symptom. Did you know
Huh.
that?
No, I didn't.
So everyone says, "Hey, do you have the hug? Do you have the hug?" Right? But the other name for it is embrace, which makes
Huh.
sense, right? Because it's like,
Yeah.
but yeah. So I'm not going to use the hug anymore. I'm gonna be like, "Hey, do you have the embrace symptom?"
Okay. That sounds nicer.
Whatever, you know. Well, the hug sounds nicer, doesn't it?
Well, they both sound. I don't know.
The MS hug isn't so nice. Like that's what people say. Anyway,
I think either way, but
okay.
yeah, embrace sounds good.
Wow, that was my
No,
first anyway in a while.
it is. It was.
Okay, so that's one thing I found. There's another term that I'd never seen before. And I like this because I thought I was a pro. So
Yeah.
I'm going to spell it for you because I can't say this word. If
Okay.
I were to say it, it would be like ethos. It's Uthoff, the Uthoff's phenomenon. It's when
That's the. Go ahead. Go ahead.
you know what it
I
is.
no, I have. I might. Go ahead. You tell me. I
Wow.
think it. I. All right. Go ahead. I think I'm recalling it.
People with MS may experience temporary worsening of symptoms when their body temperature increases, such as during exercises or hot showers. Like we all know that, but I never knew there was a word for it.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. So yeah, I've never heard that word, but
Okay, wow,
that's
thank
something that
God.
that's another thing that I go through. Yeah, either
Me
hot
too.
shower. Yeah, when my temperature goes up. That's why I wear the cooling vest.
Yeah, I cannot wait to use mine this summer.
Oh,
Again,
me
it's
neither.
it's there waiting. Yeah, yeah,
I've already used it one. I already used it one day this last week,
yeah. It
just
was
for a couple hours.
cool. Okay, I can't wait. Yeah, yeah. When I take showers, I know hot showers are bad for because it inflames our nerves, right? That's why we
Mm,
start to move slow.
yep, and
But
the
I
swelling.
I can't take showers other than hot, warm showers.
Right. That's yeah, exactly.
So I just suffer through it. Is that all it is?
Well, how long does it take you to recover after a shower? Like a half an hour?
When you say recover, like, so I
Get
get
back to being
tired.
able to function.
Yeah. As soon as I get like 10% of my energy back, that to me is good enough to go.
Gotcha.
I don't take a
Gotcha.
nap until I'm like, I'm perfect now, like, so
Yeah.
after the shower, I get to my bedroom and I kind of just fall on my bed. That's what happens. I just, transfer on the bed and I'm just there relaxing and, taking it easy for about 50. There has been times where I passed out and I
Right.
wake up like, I better put some clothes on.
But
But yeah, like
yeah, I think well, what do you say? Well, Utah? Yeah, I guess so. Utah syndrome. Um,
it depends on what country that word's from.
yeah.
It could be like uktofs.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I'm I'm thinking that maybe every so I remember I'd imagine every day that it happens, it probably is not a big deal, but I would imagine over time the inflammation, like you're swelling your cells and you're stressing your body. So I'd imagine every individual day you're fine, but over time it starts to do something. But I don't know that. I just, you know what I
That's
mean?
scary, man. Yeah. I can't take cold showers. I cannot. I cannot. I cannot.
Yeah. That's the other thing. You take a cold shower, you can't move.
It's
I
not
lock up
comfortable,
like
man.
the Tin Man. And yeah, it is uncomfortable, but I do end each shower by 10 seconds, 10 to 30 seconds of cold water immersion. So I will turn the faucet as cold as it can go and just stand there in like pure agony.
I just picture Patricia. Water? What do you say? Water? What do you say?
You two been working on your comedy?
No, but there's been a lot of requests for that,
Yeah.
man. I'm
So you
serious.
gotta make that happen.
We'll talk about it. Let's just
Yeah.
leave that
All right.
alone for now.
Keep it moving.
The number one thing that people are confused or are not aware of with not us, not people who live with multiple sclerosis, but people who know about it,
Hmm.
uh, they don't know that it's not just a physical disease. They think it's a physical disease. Now we're
Right.
like, no, we know it's much more than a physical disease, but uh, people, that's why it's an invisible illness too, right? Because
Right.
they don't know that we likely experience depression, anxiety due to the disease's impact of our brain too, right? It affects
Hmm.
our brain. And that's why we always say we have brain damage, any
Yeah. Well.
any conflict, any conflict in our brain is brain damage, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
But people assume brain damage.
Right. From an injury. But
Yeah, so
and that's a good segue because it is May is Mental Health Awareness Month here in the
dude,
States.
May
So
is MS Awareness Month in Canada. I
I
didn't
know.
even I didn't even bring that up. Happy
Yep.
MS Awareness Month. This is
Are
the
you
month where we
aware?
get to what?
Are you aware? Because I'm aware.
I'm aware. And then everyone's like, it's every day's MS Awareness
Right.
Month to us. Like,
Right.
yeah,
But it is Mental Health Awareness Month down here in the States, and
that's important, man.
it is another component. Just like we were just talking about treating the whole person. And yes, who knew that the entire body needs to be functioning at its highest level in order to feel good? Like, who knew that your gut was important? And, what are they going to say next? That your lungs are important to breathe? I mean, yeah, of course they are. But I understand. And, honestly, I think a lot of those research papers come out because the food industry has more to do with, look, I don't want to go down conspiracy rabbit holes, but
Yeah,
the food industry has more about making money than providing nutrition. I'm just going to leave that there. Do with it what you want.
dude, we all know this.
Okay.
Like it's just like cigarettes are bad for you,
Right. Right. Like who knew?
and even if it doesn't affect your lungs because your lungs clean themselves out, when it comes down to it, there's chemicals in these cigarettes that are not natural, and
Thousands.
right,
Thousands.
okay, so we all know
Anyway.
this. We all know
Yeah,
nutrition,
I know, but
you know. Yeah.
don't want to
So
get that cease and desist letter from the.
dude, we would have been canceled a while ago. Okay,
That's true.
so I got a fun fact. This
All
is an
right.
actual fun fact, and then we can end this. It's okay.
All right. All right.
Okay, cool. So, and this is cool. I like this. Some research suggests, yeah, this is research and it suggests, that word
Right.
I love, that people with MS may experience increased creativity or innovative thinking, potentially due to the disease's impact on the brain's function. Do you want me to repeat that?
No, I'm
That's
creatively waiting for an answer. I'm putting an answer together creatively for you, Terry.
so what it means to me is ding ding ding, and it just like shifts your brain to this way, which it would never have been shifted before, but now you so am
Yeah,
I
no, I agree.
you
I
feel you're
agree.
more creative since be I don't
I think, well, I don't know about creative, but I have to, you have to think creatively and like, how am I going to get from point A to point B? How am I going to actually, the creativity comes from how am I going to manage and survive today? And you have to balance that against perfect example to bring it full circle to the beginning of our episode here. I had to creatively think of a way not to handle that situation in the doctor's office. So I like made a joke about it instead of doing what I would do. So yeah, I think there is some truth to that. I think, you specifically, Terry, had to be creative at the very beginnings of your wheelchair use because you had to creatively come up with ways to get through your day.
I feel like that's a nice way of saying more stress. You
Yeah,
stress out, so you figure out ways to.
but yeah, the brain. Look, the what I forget I think it's like 7 days of doing the same thing will rewire your brain.
I know what you're
So,
talking about, but I don't know.
yeah, so we have the ability to retrain our brains for the most part,
Watch
and that's
yourself.
creativity.
Next time
I
you come
said,
on, you're gonna be like, I need to correct myself. It's 6 days. or it's 5 days, not
No, that
7.
hospital thing was important to
Yeah,
correct
yeah, all
because
right, all right.
there's a whole building full of
Dude,
people that are still working.
I hope people aren't getting their facts from us, I mean,
Yeah.
for the most part, you know.
Yeah. This is all anecdotal. You have to go into the disclaimer mode now, Terry.
Biofreeze. I was talking to someone and he was like, he uses biofreeze on his back when it's
Yeah.
stiff. Get out of here, man. I bought it for my finger. I didn't even think of my back. I'm going to actually use it on my back. You know what? I didn't
Uh-huh.
even do that yet. No, because I got a lot of lower back spasms. Okay.
They have patches out there too. Just put it on your back. So those were some interesting fun facts.
Thanks. Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I agree. I think, hopefully someone's creativity comes up with better pharmaceuticals
So we got to
to
like
help us all out.
someone with MS has to come up with that because they're more creative
Probably.
now. Okay.
Yeah, probably.
Awesome. So
Always a fun time. Nice relaxed episode this week out.
great episode.
I hope everyone out there is enjoying the weather as it's warming up. Um, and I hope you're getting your vitamin D by standing in the sun for at least 15 minutes.
Is that, are you making, I can't stand.
I know.
I don't know if you're
Listen,
doing,
I said it and I was like, well, I gotta forget who I was talking to. Well, technically, you are standing just
I
in
stand
your
your
own way.
jokes. No, I don't know what I'm saying.
Wow.
Just
Wow. All right, I'm done. I'm out. Thanks everybody for sticking with us. Hopefully we see you all next week.
for
Terry, my
sure.
friend. Talk
Take
soon,
care,
brother.
man. For sure. Bye. So check us out at 40belowzero.com. That's 4 letter T below zero.com. Or feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. Our email address is info@40belowzero.com. Our personal Instagram account are, for Nix, it's Nix_V713. Or for Terry, it's what's_MS. Awesome. Looking forward to hearing from you guys. We'll talk soon.